that we couldn't laugh through, and it messed Marky up pretty badly. I saw him go from the joy of our friend group to being so devastated that he didn't smile for over 2 months. It got so bad that he would barely eat any food and was willing to starve himself if I didn't remind him about eating. I tried to help him as much as I could, but he was pushing me away during his time of grief, and needed to mourn alone. He ended up moving back home and cut ties with everyone, even me. I had no way of contacting him, which made me devastated as well. It wasn't until 2 years later, when college had ended, that Marky finally contacted me. He said he was back in town and wanted to meet. Before the accident, he'd always been the most joyful, exuberant, positive person I'd ever met. But after I met him again, he was quieter, sadder, and most importantly, he was thrice the size he was before. Apparently his way of dealing with grief was to engross himself in the gym. He told me he spent at least 4 hours in the gym every single day, and even took some substances like creatine to help with muscle buildup. He definitely looked like a bodybuilder to me. Thankfully, the spark in our friendship was still there. We started hanging out daily, and his new interests quickly became something that I enjoyed as well. His gym activities never took a step back, and he just kept on growing, and I grew to like his new look. Eventually, I realized that I was falling for him, and this time it was serious enough for me to stop looking at other men and want a serious relationship with Marky. The way he had bounced back from his grief and worked on himself was just so attractive to me. So one fateful day when we were hiking on a mountain, just the two of us, I confessed my feelings to him. I told him that he's the one with whom I want to spend my life with. He smiled and told me he isn't fully healed yet. He's still figuring out how to live in a world without his elder brother. At the same time, Marky called me the sun in his dark world. Then he brought up that silly promise about us marrying each other if we were single at 30. He told me that he's serious about that, and that if he has figured out a way to heal by the time we're 30, he will propose to me in this exact same spot. It was a little heartbreaking to be let down, but it was clear to me that he loved me as well, and just didn't want to carry his burden into our relationship. So for the next few years, I moved to Germany, where I built a good career for myself. Meanwhile, Marky went to New York and became a social media influencer thanks to his bodybuilding passion. I would constantly follow his posts, and note how he was still getting bigger and buffer, and never lost the motivation to work out. Before I knew it, my 30s were upon me and I had moved back to California. That's when Marky gave me a call, asked if I was single or had someone I liked. I said I only had one person I liked, and he knew what I meant. He told me he had figured out how to heal, which was by spending his life with me, and invited me to go to that mountain we were hiking that day. I knew what was coming, and I was super excited for it. I made sure I was in perfect shape and spent weeks dancing around my home from the excitement. And then, I can't stop crying while typing this, but 1 week before he was going to propose, he overdosed on some crappy steroids he was taking. That's how my pact ended.